Shalom, 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 everyone. Glad everyone was able to tune in for tonight. Got a lot to cover. I'm trying to figure out why my screen is acting weird on me, but y'all know how it goes. Everything always seems to go at weird. I want to add weird once I'm about to get started. So we got a lot to cover tonight. I wanted to try to do a new segment, which is why I started a few minutes late. I was trying to make sure everything was straight for this new segment. I don't want anything to break us up because I'm trying to perfect the show, make the show more and more closer to perfection. There were several things that I wanted to cover that I'm not going to be able to cover. But as the segments and the things grow more, I should be able to cover those things more, next time. Yeah, this is irritating me right now. All right, so just want to thank you all again for joining in. My name is Rosh Ya'acob Abraham. For those who don't know me, I am a rabbi at Gethsemane Spiritual Temple Congregation. And on this channel, we take real life situations, news clips, different debatable arguments. Whatever the situation is, we take all of it and we look at it from a Torah perspective. I try to give you a clear understanding of it according to how it would have been looked at in the Torah. So that's my foundation. And that's the main thing that I try to use. Let's try to get you to understand it according to Torah. So with that being said and done, I got two new things. Well, one new thing that I wanted to add. The first thing is something that we've been doing for a while as of late. And that is introducing the artist of the week to you. And this week's artist of the week is the artist that we had for last week. So this artist of the week is a couple, a husband and a wife. They really do a good job. It's Yirmiyah and Yeshaya, Yisrael, and the name, and they call themselves together as a group, Music Yisrael, and the name of their song is Teach Me. So I'm going to go ahead and play our artist of the week, and then introduce our other new segment from there. And once you do the artist of the week and introduce the segment, then we're going to get into what everyone is tuned in for, which is the dissection of a Hebrew pastor. You have this pastor, I believe his name is Daryl Arnaz. And this pastor began to break down different knowledge about certain things. And we're looking at these apologists as they dissect him and look at every aspect of everything he said and why did he say that and what does that mean. And as they tear him apart and rebuild him and rebrand him according to how they view things, I said, well, hold on. Let me put a Torah view on that. So we get the Christian view and the apologetic view. But I said, well, let me put a Torah view on that so we can see, well, what does the Torah has to say about what this pastor is saying. But before we get into that, let's get into our artist of the week. So again, we have Music Yisrael with their song, Teach Me.
Teach me your way. Teach me to say okay. Teach me. Teach me. Teach me. Teach me. Give me your mind. Teach me how to be kind so that people will find their respect for the blind. Oh, won't you teach me? Teach me. Teach me. Teach me. Give me that sound. That sound. What's that sound? That sound. Teach me that sound. That sound. What's that sound? That sound. Teach me. Teach me all the way. Teach me all the way. Teach me all the way. Teach me to see so that I can be free while I'm down on my knees and you're dealing with me. Oh, won't you teach me? Teach me. Teach me. Teach me. Teach me the way.
Wow. Talk about messing up. Oh my goodness. I was talking all that time and y'all cannot hear me. Oh no. Shh. Take a breath. Take a breath. Take a breath. All right. Anyway, this is a new segment Wow. Y'all did anything that I said all the time. I just happened to look and see the microphone blinking in front of me like, you're not on, no one can hear you. You just right there, blank screen. Hopefully that don't make people turn off or they be like, hey, we can't even hear that fool. All right, anyway. So, again, that was Music Yisrael with Teach Me. Beautiful, beautiful song, Teach Me. Love that song. If y'all have any artists or anything that you want us to check out, leave a link to their video in the chat or leave it in a comment section. That'd be easier place for me and others to see it without, because the chat is generated according as the show goes on. So if it's put in a chat at a certain time, that's not going to appear until that part comes up again. But if you drop it in a comment area, then anybody who tunes in, if they look in the comments, they'll be able to see it. So please like, share, and subscribe. Place the song in the comment area, and then people will be able to see it and go from there. All right. So now that you can hear me, my goodness, that was crazy. I should have never messed with this mic, but anyway, now that you can hear me, that's in the past. I'm not going to let that get to me. That's in the past. So now that you can hear me, we're going to have our segment from Breaking News. Now, as I said last week, a lot of times we don't always agree, right? Everything is not always agreeable. Like, all Christians don't agree. All Israelites don't agree. All Muslims don't agree. All Hebraics don't agree. All apologists don't agree. There's no full agreement on everything where y'all look at everything exactly the same. Now, people might put up a strong front in front of people to make it look like they always agree. So if people see them, they'll always look like, well, those guys are always on point. They always agree with each other. But in essence, there is no always agree. Everybody has their own opinion. Everybody looks at something slightly different. With that being said and done, that should never bring you to blows. And that was the thing that happened this week that got with me when I was, like I said, I was going to talk about Elon Musk and what he said about AI may having the potential to destroy humanity. And he kind of said it quick and chuckled as if he didn't just say that. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, you know, something could destroy everybody. Why would you be messing with it, right? And there was something with this other young lady. I think her name is Keisha K or something like that. And she was talking about the type of men that she wanted to date. And that was kind of something that seemed like it was something that could be talked about, especially when I seen the clips and these other people in these talk shows and the stuff they were saying. So I said, okay, I probably could touch on that a little bit. But then something happened. It was even this thing where I might actually do a show on this, where the guy Tommy Sotomore, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He was on this show with this woman named Pearly Things. They got all kind of names for her now. They call her Just Grifty Things, Just Grifter Things, Just Lonely Things. They call all kind of names, right? But it was this. He was on her platform doing a show, and he was saying some disparaging things about women and marriage and really talking down on marriage. And I'm like, well, according to Torah, we supposed to be getting married, so there's something that needs to be spoken up on. So I said I would probably do a whole segment on that instead of just using it for this small thing called breaking news. But this small thing called breaking news tonight is something that many of y'all may have seen already. It was kind of disturbing, and I just wanted to play a part of it. And then after I played part of it, I just wanted to just do a brief editorial on it. That's what the breaking news probably be more like my little editorial. So I just want to do a brief editorial on it because I was like, this is kind of crazy, right? I really felt like this is something that needs to be talked about and broken down. And in light of how the show ended last week, when I was talking about people having their own ideas and their own views, and how people can look at things, I was like, wow, this is kind of pointing to that. People being able to do all of that. So I said, well, let me go ahead and talk about this because this was an issue for me. And I said, this is something that we really gotta talk about. So what I'm talking about is when brothers are fighting each other. So we want to go back to our I'm just going to open it up with this is where brothers are fighting each other.
He turned around and gave over as if he wanted to show. But now that we talking about that homosexual act that they did in that group, what are they doing? What are they doing? He brought his gay ass back over on his side again. He can't address this. You understand? Read it again. It's fight. The Courier and press also reported that George Lewis, using the name, had now been.
Now, what's happening here apparently is there's two different Hebraic camps that don't agree with each other on everything. For the most part, they all agree on different aspects of different things. But there's certain things that they don't agree on, which is fine. We got to learn to just say, okay, we don't agree. It's not the end of the world, right? Do we agree on the basic things? That's what I wanted to use my platform for, that we can believe in the basic things. Do we believe in the basic things, right? But these brothers are on here. And for the most part, they are not in agreement with everything. We see it clearly that they don't agree with everything. They just don't. So with that being said and done, we see them both in the same area yelling out stuff against each other. And this is where it takes a bad turn. This is where it gets kind of bad.
Has been connected. He was connected with who? With the Israel, with the what? With the Israel, with the what? With the Israel united in Christ. Now what you gonna say about that? Now them sisters gotta pack up and leave.
And as y'all see, this is what happened, right? The brother moves a chair so that he can grab a speaker. The other brother comes over like, don't touch my chair, and moves the chair back. Then the brother pushes him. He pushes the other brother. Then they begin to fight, and everybody swaps down and is now battling and fighting. It just gets worse and worse and worse. Where you see brothers being taken down to the ground by the brothers who had the majority. It's just not a good look. It's not a good look. And it's really not a good look.
Stay down still, bro. Oh shit! You got him touch. Man, I knew that was coming.
All right. I don't even want to look at the rest of that. I just wanted to just show y'all just a brief part, just so it can be something that we can talk about. And the thing was want to talk about with it is we just gotta look at this like, oh my, this is just crazy, right? Because come on, brothers, like we gotta do better. We gotta do better. I've seen people like Brother Sarnetta going in on it and saying it was gang banging and saying that and talking, saying disparaging things about the creator, right? Saying it shouldn't be surprising because the creator be tripping and he just was saying all kind of things. I don't even want to speak one of the things that the brother was saying. Sometimes I think he goes an extra level to prove his point. And he went there, and of course, brother Vocab, who we're using to talk about on this platform, we going over some things that he said as they dissected this. Minister, you know, brother Vocab said certain things about it as well. And it's just terrible. It's just terrible. And it doesn't make the community look good. It makes us look bad. As the guy on the videos, recording the video, was saying as he got through the video, he was like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. And he also went on to say in the video, yeah, they try to tell us to do this and that, but look at them. Look how they are. You know, it's a saying that the Mashiach, that the Rebbe says, he says, don't let your good be evil spoken of, right? Don't let your good be evil spoken of. You're out there trying to do something good. Don't let that turn into something that people can speak evil about. Because they're not just going to speak evil about you. They're not just going to look at you and just speak evil about you. They're going to look at all of us. And they're going to look at the Creator. They're going to look at the Almighty. They're going to blaspheme His name. As I said, the brother began to do on his channel, right? They're going to blaspheme the Almighty name, and then they might back up from doing it and just talk about you and say, well, you're not real, and to go from there. But it's not a good look. It's not a good look. We got to do better. I just had to take the time out to say that. We got to do better because people watching us. People hear what we saying, right? That's what people do, right? If you out there being vocal, telling people to do the right thing, this, that, and other, the first thing they're gonna do is look for you doing the wrong thing so they can put it out there and say, look at him, look at her. Someone doing the right thing. Look at them. They ain't doing the right thing. See? They ain't no better. See? This, that, that's what people look for. You got people that look for that. They look for stuff like that so they can talk about you. So they can say, look at you. You not this, you not that, right? And that's the whole thing within a nutshell. So I just want to make that clear, you know, because I feel like that's a real problem. A real problem that need to be fixed, a real problem that we need to talk about and be discussed. You know, that's a real problem right there. Yeah, that's a real problem right there. All right, so let's get into our video for today, so we can go into what we're going to be talking about, what we're going to be discussing. And that is the situation right here. So let's go. Now I want to bring it to where we left off at. And I believe it was right around here after Pastor Daryl Arnaz was talking. I believe it was right about here where we left off at.
Except
There's some parts coming up here.
a lot of people are dealing with the.
So we'll come back to right there. That's where I felt like we was at. And I'm going to push play and then adjust my man, and then we're going to go on from there.
Ooh, I want to talk about the why of the Hebrews, the why of Israel, the why of Messiah. Okay? So we move forward, and this is what we understand. As believers, it's easy.
Somebody in the live chat seems to know. Monkey Move says, yes, he is oneness. So how does everyone seem to know this guy except for me? So Monkey Moves, tell me how you know about him and stuff like that. I'm curious.
I think we already said
I
this
probably need
part.
to go watch that Corey Minor video that
Let's see. Maybe it was right here.
These sort of white nationalist types I see on. The Christians are giving the most pushback. Why do you guys think that is? Him any longer through God's eyes. Now God knows your lineage, but Jesus said in John.
All right, let's go back. I'm sorry, guys. I should have kept where this is at. So we're gonna go right here where apparently he goes to 2 Corinthians. We're just gonna pick it up from here.
He is a new creature.
That's good.
Old things are passed away, and behold.
See, they talk about awakening, but like that's what it's really about. Is regeneration, being born again. But it's like what's the real mission? Is it to wake up Hebrews, or is it to preach the gospel and see people come to Christ and then be conformed to his image? 2 Corinthians 5:17 would seem to say the latter, but a lot of these people keep on mixing in the former.
All right, so so we looking at this aspect. He uses 2 Corinthians 5:17, and this is the main thing that I see happening here that we have to understand is the Mashiach had a whole mission before that, as we brought out last week in episode 2 of the series, or the second episode of the series. The Mashiach had a mission. The mission was to redeem Yisrael. That's the mission. That same mission he passed on to his Talmudim, his disciples. Now, what Brother Vocab is not telling you from the text is that the Talmudim were not thinking about going out talking to Gentiles. That wasn't what they looked at as their mission was. In fact, they believed that their mission was to they believed that their mission was to still continue on in the work that the Mashiach was doing, which was looking for the tribes. So you might say, well, where does it say that at? Where are you getting this from that their mission was about the tribes and search for the lost tribes and not so much about not so much about the Gentiles. The Gentiles came in later, but originally that wasn't an aspect of it. But we gotta go back to the scriptures. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring up these scriptures. We're gonna go back to the scriptures, and what I'm gonna do is bring up these verses dealing with this. So let's see, we got and I'm quite sure he's familiar with these verses and probably has a take on it. But we're going to look at this. So we're going to go to Matthews or Messiah. Allergies acting up. Chapter 15. All right, so let's look at this. Matthew's chapter 15, right? So let me make my man smaller. And put him right here. So it says Matthew's 15:24. And let me change this to a more Hebraic versions, because I know some people can't stand to see the so-called translation of the Mashiach's name, which of course we say that that's not what his name is at all. His name is Yahshua. But this is the closest to it, which is based off the Aramaic, so it says Yeshua. And I believe it was 15:24. All right, so what does it say? Let's go to 21. But Yahshua went out from there, and he came to the borders of Sur and Sidon. And behold, a Canaanitish woman from those borders came forth, crying out, and she said, "Have pity on me, my master, son of the weed. My daughter is badly driven by a demon." But he, talking about the Rebbe, did not give her an answer. And his Talmudim came and begged him, and they were saying, "Send her away, for she is crying after us." So in other words, this began to be annoying to the disciples. Right? The disciples like, okay, send her away. This becoming annoying. She's here, she's crying after us, she's saying her child is demon possessed. Now, why did the Mashiach, why did the Rebbe not do as he's done with others and help this woman? Why did he seemingly ignore her cries and kept going about his business? Why? The disciples understood why. That's why they didn't say, "Well, Master or Rebbe, why aren't you helping her?" They didn't say that. They said, "Send her away. She bothering us. Like, she keep following us and yelling and whining behind us and saying, 'Help me, help me, help me. Help my daughter, please, please, please.'" She's calling him son of the weed, so she said that she believes that he is the Mashiach. So she has this belief that he's the Mashiach, and she said, "Please, please, please, right? Please help me." But what happens? As she's saying, "Please, please, please, and please help me," he's ignoring her. And the Talmudim do not ask him why, because they understand why. Now, Gentiles may look at this and say, "Well, that's wrong. Why is he ignoring her? He should do something. She says she needs his help, right? She believes in him. She has faith in him, right? But what happens? He ignores her. Now, what does he say? Look at verse 24. But he, the Rebbe, answered and said to them, I'm not sent except to the sheep that have strayed from the house of Yisrael. Or in your versions, it will say the lost sheep of Yisrael, right? That's who he sent for. He sent for the sheep that went astray from the house of Yisrael. Uh-oh, something's wrong here. I thought he came for everybody. That's what we always taught. He came for everybody. He's everybody's savior, right? Isn't that what they say? What does he say? We're not talking about hearsay, he say, she say. We talk about what did the Rebbe say himself out of his own mouth. I am not sent. This is in the first person, singular. So it's not third person. This is first person. He says, I am not sent except to the sheep that have gone astray from the house of Yisrael. That's it. So the sheep that didn't go astray, I'm not sent to you. Now you might have them brothers that say, we've been holding on to the Tanakh forever, and we don't need to believe in your Messiah. You're right. He didn't come for you. Oh my goodness, how can you say that? Then now they offended. What you mean he didn't come for me? You say you don't need to believe in him? Yeah. You say you don't care nothing about him? Yeah. Well, no, you good. He didn't come for you. Ain't you keeping Torah already? Yeah. Well, he didn't come for you. Uh-oh, I'm saying something controversial. Uh-oh, what am I talking about? He did not come except for the sheep that have gone astray from the house of Yisrael. That means these sheep or these people of Yisrael that are not keeping Torah. These sheep in Israel that have ventured off so far from the way that they don't even have knowledge of themselves or what they're supposed to be doing. This is who the Talmudim was sent to. This is the mission of Yahshua. Now, why am I saying this? If you go back to Series 2, you'll see that in the Torah, we was told to keep all the laws and the commandments. And we was told that if we stray away from keeping all the laws and the commandments, what would happen? That we will go into exile throughout the known world, throughout all the world, everywhere. And that once we came to ourselves where we were at, then the redemption would happen. So when they say, what's this talk about Israel? That's what the talk is about, Israel. The Gentiles weren't looking for nobody to redeem them. Redeem them from what? They never took the oaths of the law. They weren't under the curses. So what are they being redeemed from? Apostle Shaul brings in and begins to talk about death, and that's how we get the idea about Adam and Eve and the original sin and so forth and so on, because that's a question that's asked. What are the Gentiles being saved from? What are they being redeemed from? Israel know what they being saved and redeemed from. They being saved and redeemed from the curses that came upon them for breaking Torah. That's what they're being saved and redeemed from. But what the Gentiles being saved and redeemed from? They didn't make that oath. They didn't stand and make an oath to the Almighty that whatever He's saying do, they going to do. They didn't do that. But guess who did that? We did. Guess what our punishment was? Being exiled everywhere, losing knowledge of self. So now, as the Torah says, when you come to yourself and you begin to practice Torah wherever you are, from there, the Almighty will come and redeem you. That's the mission of Rabbi Ya'acob ben Yosef. That's his mission. His mission was not coming for everybody just so you can just believe and be saved. What are you talking about? Right? There's more than just that. And it was for specific people. But as Apostle Shaul begins to express, those specific people didn't accept him, and that caused salvation to be able to be brought to the Goyim, who now were on the sidelines and begin to believe. But something happened. These Goyim eventually took over the movement and began to make it about them. Where no longer is a movement about Israel. No longer is a movement about his people. The movement is now about them. They even got thing that they call replacement theology, where they say that they replaced us. That he no longer using us at all. He only using them. And if we want to be a part of it, we got to convert to them. So again, I think we need to really understand that. As we hear that, we see him breaking out and stuff about this Hebraic pastor. This is one of the things that he's going to harp on. So I'm going to try to go through and see if it was something else there, because I think at this point it might be too redundant. But I'm gonna go forward. Let's go forward with him and see if there's anything else that he is saying. Let's see if there's anything else he's going to say.
Let's see.
All things are become new. And this is not just what we've been told by apostate Christianity. And we'll talk about that. Apostate Christianity has introduced so much corruption into the scripture.
Okay.
No. Apostate Christianity.
That like that.
That's just his phrase. I notice almost all these guys have some kind of casual slur for Christians. So, for example, Israel of God, whom I like, they say, those Sunday Christians.
Yeah, those Sunday Christians.
They usually mean those ignorant folks who have no idea about anything and go to church on the wrong day. And then he's got apostate Christianity.
Now, that's not what's meant by, we're not saying those ignorant folks that don't know nothing about anything. I think you kind of put that in a way for the different Christians that's watching you to feel a certain way with Hebrews or Israelites or just Christians themselves that or Christians themselves that they just believe in the Shabbat. You got Christians that believe in the Shabbat. They call Seventh-day Adventists. They talk about Sunday worshipers as well, but they not saying, "Oh, you ignorant." Right? I think he's just using that as a way to say, "Okay, let me say this in a way where it'll make it'll make my Christian followers roll with me, and they'll be like, oh yeah. So now whenever they hear any of us say those Sunday people, automatically we say they ignorant and don't know nothing. No, we say those Sunday people because we are saying that they're ignorant, not ignorant in the sense that what you're saying. But we saying they just don't have knowledge of the Shabbat. And for some of them, they don't want to have knowledge of the Shabbat. You know, so that's what it means when it says those Sunday people, those first day people, is dealing with the people for the first day who for one reason or another is saying, you know what, we stick it with this day, this the day we always had, and they don't want to get the Bible or get any knowledge or understanding anything else. So that's the thing with that. But I like how he threw that in there because he's cleverly using that to say, hey, this is what they're saying about Christians. And it's really disingenuous. There's nothing about it. Even when he says the apostate Christians, he's still coming from his pastor aspect. He's talking about the Christians that went astray from keeping the Torah. They became apostates. They stopped keeping the Torah. Originally, all of them, the Goyim and the Hebrews together was keeping Torah. They was keeping the Shabbat. They was doing all those things. And then it began to be a falling away. That's why he said apostate. He's not saying apostate because he's trying to get smart. Right? Come on now. Vocab know what he's talking about. I mean, he wouldn't know what he's trying to do when he says that.
And then the other names are, of course, much worse.
Apostate Christianity has been so instrumental in burying the truth.
So it's...
So what's...
He's talking about, that's all right. He's talking about where the idea is bearing the truth of the Hebrew stuff.
Right. Yeah. And I'm trying to marry the two ideas that he has throughout this whole video. What's the sense of God having a side mission? So we have his redemptive plan all the way through. But these Jews need to wake up.
See, and now, as I said a minute ago, this thing with the Goyim is the side mission. The main mission was about Israel. The main mission was about Israel, about the redemption of Israel. It was not about the Goyim. But the Goyim, or the Gentiles, came in and kind of hijacked it and made it about them. And now they the main mission. The main mission is now to save them. No, that was not the main mission. The main mission was to bring about the redemption of Israel. That's what it's about. That's why if you talk to any Ashkenazim Jew anywhere, or even Tanakh only Hebrew brothers and sisters, and you start talking about the renewed covenant, the first thing they say, well, no, that is about our redemption. All of them going to agree that it's about the redemption of Israel, about Israel being brought back into the land. All of them agree with that. The only people that say it ain't about that is Christians. The other ones say, well, hold on, no. It's about salvation. It's about the salvation of the Goyim. Where do you get that from? As we seen in the text that I just read, Yahshua himself said he only came for the sheep that went astray from the house of Israel. That's what he said. Not me. I didn't say that. He said it. In your Bible, it say he was said he only came for the lost sheep of Israel. That's what he said. He didn't say, oh, I came to make sure that the Goyim or everybody can be saved. What are you talking about? They wasn't even looking for him to come again. So I don't understand why he tries to paint that mission as the side mission. Okay, so the real mission is for them. And the Hebraic stuff is a side mission. That's like topsy-turvy. The real mission was for the Hebrews. The thing with the Goyim became a side mission.
When Jews knew who they were the whole entire time. You know what I mean? I'm trying to put the two ideas together and harmonize.
Oh, so he said when they knew well, that's the whole thing. When they was going and search for the lost sheep, these lost sheep did not know who they were. They become so engulfed, they had an idea but they were so engulfed in what they were doing that they were lost. This is who he came for. And he came to remind them and to bring them. Some of them are also far gone that they lost and don't have no knowledge of self. But now what this guy is doing is, as he says that, he's not also paying attention to the other prophecy, which says that Israel is going to be so far gone that they're not going to know who they are. They not. That's just what happens. But he's operating off the premise that the Israelites already knew who they were, and he's operating off the premise that it's talking about these Ashkenazim, and it's not talking about you black people. That's how he's looking at it. So let's keep going.
Harmonize them, and you just can't.
Did the Hebrews, the Israelites, did the Jewish people, which the New Testament does use that phrase, everybody, you know, Hebrews have a problem with it. Did they not know who they were? And yet what was Jesus' mission to tell them? So it's like now it's like a new mission has been created because they've invented a new problem.
See, and that's why I'm saying, that's why I read it in fundamental. The ones who believed, the ones who are saying they got the Tanakh and they don't need him, he wasn't coming trying to tell them. He said, I didn't come for you. He didn't come for them. What are you talking about? He said specifically who he came for. I came for the lost sheep. I came for the sheep that are lost. So when a sheep become lost, that sheep no longer knows his way. That sheep is astray. That sheep is going on his own path. He came for them. I digress.
That they say is prophesied, but that problem actually never shows up in Scripture. Never do you see anybody going around. Acts would have been the perfect place. We got to go tell these Jews that they're Jews because they don't know they're Jews.
Y'all try to make it real simple. Yeah, exactly, Akita. It is really, really tough. Really tough for them to swallow. He says that's tough for the Christians to swallow. Yeah, it's a tough pill. It's like we gotta make it about. It gotta be about them. It's like, what are you talking about? He's not saying again. He's not saying, hey, let's go to these people and tell them about who they are because they don't know. Of course, during that time, the Mashiach wasn't doing that. Now, in certain instances, it did have to go that way. We got instances where we see the woman at the well, where those are people who was lost because of historical things that happened, and he did talk to them, and he did reveal himself to them. Like he actually told, like that was the only person he really just came outright and said, "I'm him. You looking for me? It's me." He said that to them, right? So that gives an idea of how he may have been with other people who were lost sheep who had no idea or clue of who they were. And as he talked to them, he said, hey, it's me. You know? Now, as far as what Vocab and them was talking about, it's really a play on history, right? If we would have never been born here in exile and forced to not know who we were, then wouldn't been no reason for nobody to say, wake up, know who you are. I'll say that again. I'm going to do my brother Umar. If we would have never been brought here in exile and forced to not know who we are, it would have never been a reason to come and say, hey, this is who you are, because you would have already known. Vocab and the other guy, I said I was going to have their names down pat. I still don't. But Vocab and the other guy who are being more vocal, you see the brother kind of sitting there because he kind of in limbo. He trying to figure out what he gonna say. But you see Vocab and his guy, they're being real vocal about this issue about, oh, the Hebrews know who they were. They knew who they were. Okay. Well, for transatlantic slave trade and being brought over here, we knew who we were. Hello? Before transatlantic slave trade and being brought over here, we knew who we were. What are you talking about? You taking away the whole dynamic of why we don't know who we are. We don't know who we are because some Europeans, along with other factions, even Ashkenazim was involved, right? These Europeans brought us over here, sold us, and then to make sure, for whatever reason, you didn't have no knowledge of who you were, beat it out of you. We see the clearest example from the movie Roots, where Kunta is tied up to the post. And he says, "What's your name, boy?" And he says, "Kunta Kinte." And he says, "So wah," and hit him with the whip. "Your name Toby." "What's your name, boy?" "Kunta Kinte." "Wah. Your name Toby." "What's your name, boy?" "Kunta Kinte." "Wah. Your name Toby." "What's your name, boy?" "Toby. My name Toby." The knowledge of self was beaten out of the people. It got so bad to the point where the people, it wasn't they just, "Well, I don't know who I am right now." They was beaten out of them. So that's why when people sit back and make light of it, like, "Oh, you guys don't even know." Well, why don't we know who we are? Why? They just happened out the blue. You just woke up one day and didn't know who you were. So up until that point, nothing like that had happened. This was something that was that was crazy, where a group of people were stripped of their knowledge of who they were. So of course the Israelites knew they were Israelites. They didn't have to come and say, "Hey guys, you Israelites," but they did have to come to them and say, "Hey guys, y'all went far away from the ways of your fathers." And they probably said, "Well, yeah, we remember the ways of our fathers a little bit, but we kind of caught up with where we at now." And they said, "No, you can come back to Torah." Right? That's the idea behind it, right? Because it was about them. It was about us. This new aspect that you said is something new, that you don't see this phenomenon happening during that time period, is because no one had beaten it out of the people, the knowledge of self out of the people. It's only through the transatlantic slave trade that the knowledge of self was beaten out of the people. Out of all the people that's been enslaved throughout the world, we are the only people who was the knowledge of who we are was beaten out of us. And then we was told, "You a color." We was told we was bywords. "You a color, you this, you that." All kind of bywords being added on us to what we are without ever saying, "This is who you really are." So when I see Brother Vocab and others giggle about this, it just makes me say, well, golly, what you expect? You expect the people really to have this knowledge of who they are in light of what happened to them? In light of what happened to them, you expect them to have this knowledge of who they are. Let's think about that. And I'm quite sure, I'm not sure what the brother about to say, but I'm quite sure he's thinking about that. Like, hold on, you guys kind of joking about this, but we don't know who we are. It is not because of anything of our own. Like we just stopped. We got so absorbed with stuff we just don't know who we are. I'm quite sure Vocab and the other guy in the corner, I'm quite sure they can tell you exactly what their fathers were and their fathers' fathers were. They know. We don't. Even a brother right there that's from Baltimore, because he said he was from Baltimore. Even his brother right there from Baltimore, he don't know neither. That's why he's sitting there. He don't know. So that's why it's saying, that's why these brothers incorporate that new aspect, as y'all call it, into the mission to remind the people of who they are. Because the knowledge of self was taken away. It was stolen away. Like, come on now, let's be... whenever I hear those guys say that, I just sit back and say, what are you talking about? How did that become the mission all of a sudden? Because the stakes was changed when the people beat out them who they were. When the people beat out of our ancestors the knowledge of who we are, that's when everything changed. The stakes changed. So now, in order to tell you that, hey, Israel, you got to wake up. First, I got to let you know that you Israel. I can't just say, hey, Israel, wake up. It's like, who, me? I ain't Israel. I'm black. Who, me? I am. I'm an African-American. Who, me? I am. I'm an Afro-American. Who, me? I am. I'm colored. Who, me? I am. I'm a Negro. Some go even worse than that. Let's get to it.
Just doesn't appear.
It just sounds, it kind of sounds like the universal salvation theology that says that Christ died for everyone, but now we have to go tell people that, hey, you're saved because of Jesus.
Well, you see how he tried to fit that in? That ain't had nothing to do with anything. That was like an awkwardness, like, okay, let's move right along. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, brother? Come on, brother. What are you talking about? You know why the people got to be told who they are. You know just like we know. You one of us. You was over here. Yeah. But I'm guessing, but I could kind of guess maybe your people came over in the hulls of slave ships. Maybe. So for you to sit there now, we're trying to equate it to some kind of Christian thing. It's like, what are you talking about? Hey, look how they looking at it like, yeah, we don't know what you're talking about right now. I'm sorry. Because he had to say something. It was just like, okay, what do I say right now? Let me equate this to something Christian-y. What are you talking about? You can't equate this to nothing Christian-y. Like, come on now.
Yeah. Hey, Orthodox Moore says, is he doing the whole Esau as the white man stuff or something more unique? I don't see him going all there.
No, there's no Esau as a white man.
Yeah, we don't see that.
No.
So I know people are going to come on and be confused why we're doing this. Oh, you guys are nitpicky. Look, we know most of these Christian pastors who are turning into a blend of Hebrew-ism with some version of Christianity. Often it's not exactly a healthy Christianity they had prior in the first place. But when they blend these two things together, right, rarely do they go all the way one west. You get examples every now and then, but rarely does that happen. So we don't think...
One West is the extreme.
Yeah, we don't think that this guy's doing that, just so everyone knows. Now, One Westers, at least they're happy. That's how I found out about this. Someone who had a Lashua and Kodash name. So we understand that, just so everyone watch. We're not saying he hates people. We're not saying any of that. We're just saying he's buying into lies. And notice how it makes him talk now about the mission of the church and the problem with Christianity. Christians have all kinds of problems. Church has problems. But bearing the true identity of the Jews is not one of them.
All right, so basically said this pastor, by accepting the knowledge of self, is caught up with lies, right? Saying he's caught up with these lies. And then he begins to say, yeah, Christians got a lot of problems, but, come and telling the people about who they are, that's something new. They don't got nothing to do with that. That's some kind of outside doctrine, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's outside doctrine of Christianity. This oh my goodness. The brother said, look, I've been following the Mashiach for some time. One day my eyes opened and I seen that this is talking about me and I'm part of Israel. He began to see this, right? So as he see this, he said, okay, I see this. This is what it is. And he's trying to find his way to explain it. Now, he might don't have all the things right now to be able to explain it exactly the way he want to be able to explain it or not. But they're looking to see if he going to go full one West. That's why I say this like the dissecting is kind of like you want to be able to put somebody in a box or a category. Instead of just saying, it's a brother, it's a believer. And he's come to the knowledge of himself and he's trying to fill it in. You won't even give him that he's coming to the knowledge of self. You said he come to the knowledge of Allah. Like, you so straight bit that is impossible for us that's over here to be Israel, where the state of Israel said that the Igbos are Israel. The state of Israel said that. Wasn't me. Well, I've been saying it, but I mean, the state of Israel came out. These Ashkenazim said this, right? Did you know the majority of us that's over here are derived from these Igbo? At least that's what those DNA things tells us, right? So what that said, if the Igbo is Israel, and we derive from them, then we Israel. So how is this brother coming to knowledge of self and saying this wrong? Now, don't get me wrong. I don't buy into DNA. Sorry. That's why I said DNA. I did the little finger thingy, I don't buy into it. Sorry. I don't buy into it, right? But the brother is saying that this is who he is. And we know for the most part that many of us, the bulk of us who came through them halls of the slave ships, came from the west coast of Africa where the Igbos are. So why is it so far-fetched where Vocab can say sternly he believe in lies? The brother came to the knowledge of who he is, and he's running with that. And in the midst of him coming to the knowledge of who he is, he's trying to express it to others. What I seen mainly with this video is I might close it out after this because I really want to talk about the other thing next week. The Tommy Samator. I know I'm saying his name wrong, but y'all know the guy Tommy says disparaging thing about black women all the time. So I really wanted to touch on the situation he brought up in dealing with marriage, try to deal with stuff like that. I wanted to talk about that next week. So I'm probably going to just close up with this for this week. But I just want to put it up there that we have clearly in this situation, this pastor is trying his best to bring about knowledge. Now, for some reason, this is really a problem or a threat to the Christian apologists because they're looking at it as, okay, these guys doing this, they're not like One West, where One West might be in your face, out there yelling at you through the bullhorns. Some people kind of turned off by that, but the Christian pastor saying it, it gives it some validity. It's like, okay, this guy saying it, he looks distinguished. He's a Christian pastor. He's been pastoring for years. He has a nice big congregation and following behind him. Hey, this guy saying this sounds kind of real. I kind of listen to him, right? Versus the brothers on the corner saying it, you can easily dismiss it if you don't like it. You can just say, he paying them no attention, and just keep it moving, right? That's what's done. But when this guy says it, it's a problem. When this guy says it, it's like, what do we want to do? How can we react to this? Let's say it's a gimmick. This is the hip thing for pastors to do now is become Israelites. I know a lot of different pastors in different places. They not all jumping on a bandwagon saying, hey, I'm going to be an Israelite. So the kind of paint it that way is disingenuous as well. You know, like, oh, this is a new trend. Pastors becoming Israelites. No, what you're saying is people beginning to wake up to knowledge of self. That same knowledge of self that was beaten out of us. When we kept being told our name was Toby and that was the end of that. Well, eventually your mind and other things start correcting itself. You start coming back to who you are. And this seems just like a way to lull you back to sleep by saying, oh, let's pick out and nitpick about the different things about this brother. So then when we see other people like him pop up, we got something to look at. And as I said on the first video, or the first episode of the series, Vocab is known for that. Like, Vocab came in, he came at the Hebrew community, One West. He started notating who they were. These are One Westerners, and these are this, and this is that. He began to categorize the whole movement and everything and put it in a way where other people outside the community can know how to talk to them, what to say, when you run into this setup, but then every now and then you run into somebody like this pastor, which is a glitch. It's like, well, we don't understand how to talk to him. We don't know what we can say to him. We don't know what's going on with him. How do we deal with him? So now he's kind of looking at him, and he might look at some other pastors later that there's this way, and he's just going to pick stuff apart and say, well, look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that. But like I say, I look at different things that Brother Vocab uses, you know, and I think the information is good because it makes you think, right? Some people get mad when people say opposing thoughts and they can't handle it, as we seen in that segment earlier, breaking news, when I did the segment earlier on this episode when I introduced the segment called Breaking News, and I spoke about the two Israelite camps that were fighting each other, and it got caught on film by one of Vocab's people. That's the crazy thing about him. One of his people or somebody associated with felt this and filmed it, and Vocab had him on the show. They talked about it. I didn't even see the episode, but I just was like, man. And then I see what Brother Sarnetta was talking about. I'm like, man, this is not making us look good, right? But it's growing pains, it's learning. You know, hopefully people can get out of their feelings with different things and say, hey, it's not about me, it's not about you, it's about the information and the people coming to the knowledge of self. That's what it's about. That's what it's supposed to be about. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm went a little over. I said I probably will last probably an hour and a half now, since I'm adding this other segment in, or at least close to an hour and a half if I don't go all the way to the hour and a half. So I think this is where we can close this segment out at. If it's other things that might be on here, I'm gonna try. I might bring it out later at another date. But for right now, I think this is pretty much it. Again, in the description, I have the full link to Pastor Darnell Arnaz video. If you wanted to check out his video to see everything he's saying without vocab and I'm stopping and picking in and out of it and say, hey, this says this here, that says that there. So if you actually want to look at what the pastor is saying without any interruption, I have that. If you want to look at Brother Vocab's video without any interruption from me, also have that in the description as well. And I tagged him and Pastor Arnaz in this post, so you can see that, where you can actually go to their channels if you wanted to like and subscribe there. Also ask you to please like, share, and subscribe on my channel as well. Again, my name is Rosh Ya'acob Abraham. I am a rabbi at Gethsemane Spiritual Temple Congregation, and on this show we deal with different things that's happening in the community, whether it's talking points, whether it's issues, whether it's social things, whatever it is. If it's something that I'm led to believe needs my input or a Torah perspective on it, then that's what we do on this channel. We add the Torah perspective to everything, so that you can see it from the Torah's perspective. So that's what we do on this channel. I appreciate all of y'all for logging on with me. Special shout out to my brother Jordan, for popping on the show and chiming in. Give you a special shout out to you, Key, for that. And again, next week we want to deal with marriage and how the Torah looks at marriage for the brothers in the community, because a lot of brothers are talking about being high valued man and all this other aspects. So we want to see, what is a high valued man? Like, what is a high valued man? Like, all these kind of talking points came up, and I always see different stuff where people talk about this. We have our brother, the late Kevin Samuels, had talked about this a lot, and brought out stuff about the high-valued man. And I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this high-valued man. Let's talk about brothers being married nowadays and all this stuff. Because Tommy said some pretty disparaging things on his show with the lady Pearl. He said some disparaging things on the show, and it just was talked about, and I said, you know what, I wanted to address those things that was talked about that he said, and look at it from a Torah perspective. So it should be a pretty interesting show. Very informal. I want to keep us just learning and going with the Torah. Amen. Total about Pastor. Amen. Yes, next week we going to talk about that. I'm going to deal with that with marriage. I know you real big on marriage, Pastor. So we're going to definitely deal with that about marriage, and about the importance of it. Because as I said, Tommy said some real disparaging things, and I was like, I gotta talk about this. I said, I gotta talk about this. So I'm gonna look at it from a Torah perspective. Torah about to Pastor Hennett chiming in, and Brother Jordan chiming in, and any other people that chimed in. I appreciate all of you. And again, if you want more content like this, you want to hear powerful messages like this, please log on to our Facebook page at Gethsemane Spiritual Temple Congregation. You can like and follow our page. That's also in the description as well. Is a link to the Facebook page, so you can like and subscribe there, and you can get more content like this, where it's actually a content, powerful messages, and not so much just me giving my chats and all that kind of stuff. But I appreciate you all, and want to go through from there. So I appreciate you all, and just want to bid you all shalom.